nine to five kind of job at times. There's just different components in meeting the needs of each. So they kind of believe the needs of each individual client to what's going on with them. But like I said, with athletes, it's completely different. You're dealing with them, and that we're going to red talk. So it doesn't apply. There's nothing wrong with you. Um, not being a baby, things like that. And I think it's important to send messages out there, especially for athletes, especially like the population I know I deal with. It's okay to get up. It's okay to try to figure out what is going on. And, I mean, when did the preseason start? And I've been busy. Like, there's some nights I work till 11. I work very hard and I always want to be available. I don't want anybody to feel alone because I know some people feel alone or they're not understood or it's like, forget about it. Like that's no, everybody matters. And the other thing I wanted to add, you can jump in. Athletes are human beings, along with being an athlete. That's just a role. That's part of their job, career. But that's one thing I think I hear a lot of. I'm not looked at as a human being, and I want to stress when you guys are bashing people who, that's why I stay off social media lately. You don't know what kind of impact it could have on somebody, like the media, social media, and now you got AI stuff. So don't believe everything you see, and don't believe everything you hear because you don't personally know these people, and they're people. And I know they're entertainers, or they know what they're getting into, but there's a whole mental mindset that goes along with it, and I don't think people fully understand that.
And truly, Lisa, I appreciate you kind of sharing that, being myself a former athlete, because you may be bigger, you may run faster, you perform different than the average person. Not only do that stigma is put out there by just uh, people around you, but a lot of times your media state, because they will see you as being abnormal. See, when you're bigger and stronger, you don't want to put abnormal, but it is because you're not as everybody else. And sometimes we say, well, definitely in our community, especially the African American community, we have this stigma saying that if something is going on with it, it's a normal process. Some people may disagree with me because it's normal if we say we're going to talk about it. We don't want to get there. So we try to normalize something that we should normalize. But that's just as an individual who's not an athlete, a professional athlete, or whoever it may be. If you're going to be told in your community, in your home, in your neighborhood, that it's normal to be that way, normal to we talk about mental health, we talk about in regards to uh, dealing with various things that occur, like just simple anxiety, things like stress, things like depression. Whereas for years, we was more credited to be, I believe, be robots. When I say robot is that we was built and seen, that we were seen as it was seen in the Roman times. Think about the warriors who went to the Colosseum, fought in the midst of everybody. Everybody saw them as being totally different from everybody else. And everybody couldn't perform in that setting. So when we taking that same mentality over thousands of years, and we've been thinking that when we see an athlete, especially a football player out there, football player 6'8", 350 pounds, 420 pounds, can run just as fast as a person who might be 190 pounds or 200 pounds. That's abnormal, but it is Also, with critical mentality, we see that person as he's not like everybody else. So things are going on with you. You're supposed to be because you're not like everybody else or a normal person. You're supposed to be able to handle everything besides that physical aspects that you have on the field. You have to be able to handle the mental aspects of it. Then we should be able to handle emotional aspects of it. See? And the thing about it, if your mental aspect is being at a challenging point, it's going to affect your physical. It's going to affect your emotional. I want to kind of share this because this thing about these athletes understanding when they get to that professional level, some do, some don't. It's no longer the entertainment or no longer the excitement of being in the high school field and the college field. You are now in a profession. This is a job that requires you to function normally. You think about it. To the sense abnormal out on the field because you're different from everybody else sitting up in the stand. But you're expected to operate with the well-being, the mentally and emotionally, they're like the person who are not taking a pounding and taking sticks that they get because you are expected to be mentally tough as well as you physically tough. You must be emotionally tough as well as you physically tough. And a lot of times, that's where our problems come in. And we get so thinking that as athletes, we don't need no help. And we truly need help. And I always share, Lisa heard me say this many times, I share it on all my shows. Yeah, when I saw that I was having challenges, being able to be well off, and that's well enough to be able to operate, and I see I was not, I seek the counseling. I seek the professional help. So I wanted to be the best person of myself. Twice a month. I have no problem. Matter of fact, I got an appointment in the morning. I'm not going to miss an appointment. I'm going to be there. I'm going to be encouraging. And I'm going to be able to communicate because I'm trying to be the best version of myself. You know, we just get started on that kickback right here, but hopefully we'll get it back going. I lost Lisa, and you can see it on the background. It's just going back home. She can't get it to come back. Let me try again. The internet is jumping in and out, so please bear with us. We'll try to see if I can get it back. Always keep it in mind. This is the number one internet station. You the host of the most this today, and the co-host of this today, Simon Cup. We just talk about every life issues because we deal with life issues. And those issues we deal with can affect our physical, mental, and our emotional, and can affect our financial, our social, our psychological, as well as it affects our spiritual well-being. So we want to be well-rounded, and to be well-rounded means we must identify and understand that we have many challenges that we have to deal with. And by dealing with those challenges, it allows us to be able to function in everyday life. So we want to be the best version of ourselves, and hopefully Lisa's side, she's entering back in now, so we're going to get her up on the stream as well. And I'll put myself up there, both of us will be up there. So internet is jumping in and out, so bear with us. So we have to understand. It just kind of, yesterday I had no internet, couldn't have a show yesterday because AT&T was where my internet comes through. They were working on it yesterday. They sent a couple of years. It's so crazy, but we made it to be able to be in existence. May go in and out, but I'm going to try to jump on it again too, Exactly. We're going to have those opportunities. So, yeah, the internet, and I can spending in time in regards to, but we go compete on. So listen, I was just trying to share that as you have heard me talk about, I have my point is quite similar. Because I want to empower myself. I want to be aware of who I am. I want to understand that when I am in control, understand my purpose and need, I can be self-aware. I can understand my self-purpose and have a means in the life that I live. So our athletes get to that point. Several have stepped up and talked about how they were trying to hide from the challenges they have. They was having challenges at being able to have conversation. People don't realize when you're in a situation where you're seen as like you said, I would say entertainer. I'm not, I would say money, but seen as an entertainer, and everybody coming at you, you got to find a way to shield people off. You got to find a way to be successful in this situation. So what you have to do is recognize that you have some challenges. See, mental health awareness, being aware of what challenges you have, especially when it affects your overall health. And as well as your individual ability to empower yourself. You need to be aware of your mental health. You need to be able to find out that whatever education or reform that you can encounter or see within the public about mental health, the conditions that we encounter, along with the symptoms. Some people just don't have a good understanding of the symptoms. And they definitely don't see or seek what they call the available treatment. And like what's going on in our community, in our homes, in our neighborhood is working its way even out into whatever you say your entertainment. Because you can see there's a lot of entertainers, especially when we get to athletes, since we talk about them, that are now coming around and say, I have some mental health challenges. And I'm aware of that I have something going on. I don't see the professional help that I need. But once you're obligated, why do it? That way you can perform your greatest. And I know, and at least, let me say this, a lot of this comes from being not something told you stand up and all that stuff. He's being told that in athletics, you're told, winning is your main part because you're a competitor. And you build in your mind that you compete so and you block everything out, you can block out being aware of who you are. All you focus on is your focus is on the competition. I want to have the best body I can have. So I get into the gym and the weight room and I work hard. I want to eat the right nutrition, the right food, the right dietary health program. I'm looking for that because I know I have to keep my body. So now that creates another thing we have where we're not aware that when we deal with anxiety, we deal with stress, we do like I did when I put them in the corner. Push it in the closet. Let it be in the closet. Don't worry about it. I'll get to it later, but all the time it is percolating. It's like a coffee pot. And you know what? If you don't check that coffee pot, it's going to explode. And that's one of the things I think a lot of athletes deal with. They're just not ready to address the issue. But we want them to be able to address what we're talking about it tonight. Lisa, you want to jump in right there?
I wanted to say there's so much to cover is, Johnny Manziel, lately has been speaking out. And I believe everything he's saying, and people are slamming him. But I've heard that same stories, the same thing, just a different narrative. Stop slamming people when you're not in their body and you don't know how they feel and you don't know what they've experienced. I've learned to look at things much differently. Also, before a game starts, how should that start off before a game? Should it start off if you mess up? You're going to be released. Okay, what kind of message? So I'm just trying to put that out there. What kind of message is that sending? Because I know if somebody said to me, well, you better not mess up on this. I know my anxiety, because I know I'm prone to anxiety, is going to go up 500%.
And you try to see what's going on. I can hear you. I can hear you. Oh. she, she, she went out on me. But it's all good. She'll be back. I tell you, this is technology. We understand technology. So we appreciate each and every one of you all taking time to be here tonight. I mean, just trying to get out a few points, few initiatives, to have a discussion about mental health awareness among athletes. Lisa herself, I know, worked with a lot of athletes after they've been through the process, and she works with them as one of her counselors. So puts back on the screen right now, Lisa. So we are both back here. What I did, but I'm messing around and playing around with a few things. But okay, there you go. So we want to make sure we're on full screen now. Now understand that we have to foster a culture of vulnerability, even through the strength of our players, so they can empower. We have to foster vulnerability. People don't realize. At least I had a show the other day. It was on peace. It was saying about youth working to have peace within your life. So that also goes around to being vulnerable. See, we're in a point now where a lot of people are so selfish. And athletes are some of the most selfish people there are now, I'm telling you. To the point that it just goes on. Because simply, example you gave about Johnny Manziel, about he's talking about it because of some personal thought process that some people have. They're slamming him. They slam him because he's
slamming him, and it's getting to a point like, and I've seen this with other players. It's like, guys, nobody wants to go out and field goal. Nobody wants to go out and drop a ball. Do you know that Ernest Fire, and this goes,
you okay, I'm messing around with you. That's going on. Come on, keep on talking. I'm just laughing because we're just doing some challenging playing without. I am as the producer. I'm doing some things and working with the network, and I think it's starting Lisa off a little bit. It's starting off a little bit, so she'll be back here.
I was starting to talk about Ernest Finer because many years ago when he played, he fumbled the ball at the 2-yard line. Do you know that to this day, from what I've heard, and I've heard people like they said that, why would anybody want to fumble the ball? Like, you guys have to really think about that when there's a mistake, and I say a mistake, nobody needs to drop a ball. Nobody needs to, but it contributes to anxiety, lack of confidence, low self-esteem, being made feel bad. Like, I don't like a lot of things I see, and so I'm trying to stay off of, social media for that reason. Why is and I was watch a real, so I didn't see the whole movie, but Shedeur Sanders, here's another example. He said, I know I was impressed. And I know people don't like him, because I guess they don't like Deanna. I don't know why you personally know these people. You know, that's my other issue I have. They don't know. But he said, why are you talking negative about me? Don't you have anything positive? And I thought, gosh, is he going to be a voice, you know, for us? That young man went into bad areas of Cleveland.
We're having some challenges tonight. I lost Lisa, but truly I want you to kind of keep folks on. It's a radio, more internet station. We're going back and forth. Now you know we're internet. With this internet, we're gonna have some clicks. We're gonna have some time when we go in and out, and we come back in. It's just what the internet does. And we're excited just to have a chance to come before you. So just kind of be patient with us. Matter of fact, I'm going to add myself back, and Lisa, I'm going to add you back. But we have someone trying to join in that all they have is a name. They don't have a picture up. So we can't let you join in unless you have a picture up. You have to be live. You just can't.
I wanted to finish with Shedeur really quick.
Okay.
And see if it might be somebody that doesn't want to be known who they are,
Yeah.
what I'm thinking. But Shedeur, like, he went into these bad areas. He's trying to gather tickets to kids. You know, you're not, and there's a lot of players that do things that you don't know about, and they're giving back. But then you guys come on because they make a mistake on the field, and I get worked up now. It's contributing to trauma. I can't tell you how much trauma I see. Not sleeping, not eating. There's eating disorders. Very shockingly, I just found out about that within the past 6 months. Gotta make weight. What does that do to someone's mind? You gotta, you know, be the best you can be. And furthermore, because I don't say about this, Nick, everybody knows I love Nick Young, and it really upset me the way that situation was handled. And half of what was being posted wasn't even true, but you guys they diminished him, in my opinion. And Nick Chubb is the best in my eyes, you know, he's got my lucky number. But to sit there and say somebody old and they're injured, yeah, everybody's injured, FYI. Everybody plays with concussions, guys. They don't want to let you down. And they play injured. They play with head trauma. They play with all sorts of injuries. Somebody might have died. Maybe they weren't there for the birth of their child. There's a lot of things that contribute to, and I'm just going by, you know, I don't need to read online. I get educated and schooled in this because, you know, I don't know everything. I grew up in a sports family. I grew up with a father and 2 uncles that played sports, and my uncle, we know, he rest in peace from sports. Over the weekend, and it was a totally different experience. I unfortunately had to order this package to kind of follow what's going on, but when you say things, and these guys are hard on themselves to begin with, and then people say, oh, they make millions. I'm like, okay.
Still,
You know, so do I. I make because there's a lot of controversy in my state. And my mom was saying, my mom can come home this weekend. I'm like, no, I can't. I said, why? And she said they couldn't get rid of their tickets.
Oh,
But you mean you couldn't get rid of Cleveland Browns tickets? You know, everybody, people know I'm not happy with this.
well, I tell you, she was speaking some great information, but like I said, we're just dealing with a situation with the internet going in and out. I do appreciate you hanging in here. Again, this is WVSW Radio, the #1 internet station. We actually using a new platform now in regards to bringing live guests and bringing the hosts from many places all over the country. So we're so thankful that we're able to do that. But please bear with us, and she will come back in and she will share her thoughts because I'm going to add her back in to make sure she can continue to talk and share her thoughts. And she thinks she went out, but truly hope she's coming back, and I know she will do that. Actually, I see Lisa is actually here in a minute. All right, so Lisa, you're back. Just that information.
You cannot use your name. You don't have to use your name. Just put any name if you want. I have a feeling it's probably
I
somebody.
see someone named Steve. Is it
Oh,
Steve?
yeah,
Is it
I
Steve?
see. Yeah, it's my friend.
Okay.
He's a sports enthusiast.
Okay. It shows that his device is not connected, but I see his name down here. So Steve, thank you so much. We just need your device, meaning your mic and your camera up and running, because right now it's just showing your name, and it may not let me add you to the stream because your mic and your cam is not connected. That's one of the things. So as soon as you get that up, Steve, we can go from there. I hear him in the background. I hear him talking, but truly, I can't even let you in unless it's that mic, because it keeps telling me the mic and the cam have to be connected before I can let you in. Okay, so, but he left out. Thank you so much. But Lisa, truly, as we look at the challenges we have with mental health awareness among our professional athletes, what, and I know you encounter and deal with some athletes, former athletes every now and then. What are some of the things they say really is overlooked when they're out in this professional field, getting that, professional athlete in regards to their mental health? Do people just treat them like they shouldn't have any mental health challenges? That's one of the
I think there's a fear of saying my anxiety is really high and my panic is up there. I think that's one big thing. Performance. If I don't perform, I'm going to lose my spot and they're going to replace me. I think those are major things. Um, when people were playing, and if I don't perform all that, replace me with, that's what they did in the show, basically. Oh, injured knee twice, which was not his fault. I still feel it was a dirty play after the net, but that's just me. But to say, oh, he's old or he's injured, I hope he kicks it in Texas. It's situations like that, and I tend to use him as an example just because I really follow him, but this happens to a lot of players. Oh, you're injured. They don't have time to recover. And then people are afraid to, people play with concussions. I mentioned that earlier.
Yeah.
It's a fear of losing your job and losing your spot, and it's like, what do I do? And it's like this whole back and forth, and it's very disheartening when I hear. I grew up a Browns fan, and it really is disheartening when some of the worst stories and things I hear come from Cleveland, and it upsets me. And I think people should be treated as people. but it's not okay. You know, and it's not okay to not be okay, and it's, you can't talk about what's going on.
Exactly.
And there's another thing that bothers me is, you know, high rates of depression, anxiety, alcohol, drugs, not drugs, but, you know, things to, here, what hurts you? Here, take this. People don't even know what they're taking, I think, half the time, and I think there has to be better solutions. And I really wish like fans would back off. I really wish, because you guys are helping the situation. You can talk sports and you don't have to like that someone dropped the ball like they did it on purpose. But you don't know what goes on in people's personal lives either.
Exactly.
You know, I could sit here and tell you what went on my summer because it wasn't the best summer ever. But I've learned, I'm using that as an example to try to empower people overcoming obstacles. And I think a lot of players, they go, it's the same symptoms, it's just a different narrative. And I think we have to look at, well, why isn't, you know, like somebody made a comment about Denzel Ward. Why does he keep getting concussions? He needs to learn how to hit. I'm like, oh my gosh, like really? You know, they say things that are just not nice.
Oh,
And they hide, don't hide.
I know.
I'm not afraid to come out and talk about this because I'll advocate to the end. So whenever I'm done doing what I'm doing and God put this, I gave me this opportunity. It's been almost 6 years and I'm blessed. I'm truly blessed. I love what I do. I just feel like, you know, I see stuff and I hear stuff and I think like, stop. Do you know what you're doing to somebody? And then who knows about behavior of coaches, you know? You don't know. And I think there's, you know, a lot of inappropriate interactions. I always say I should be in charge of something.
Well, that's a possibility.
In charge, and I'll get it, you know, but
That's
I
possible.
always listen and I don't dismiss, and a lot of things I say is you matter, you're somebody and you're important and your feelings matter and never let anyone dismiss you. And I think having the mindset, you know, of being an athlete and being at that professional level, because I'll tell you something, and I have little kids, that, you know, I work when I teach, my most intense athletic kids are my football kids. And I find it very interesting the amount of stress, pressure that is placed. And I don't know if it's the kids, because I talk with them like, okay, if you drop the ball, that play's over, we move on to the next one. Like I wish in a lot of ways I could get people before they even go in. But I tell the kids, it's over, it's done, focus on that next play. You can go over what happened after, but there's a lot of, I believe, demeaning behavior, and I think it's stemming even with elementary, middle, and high school. There's a lot of dismissive, demeaning, verbally abusive, inappropriate things that are being said to make people, and I feel bad. And I said to somebody I was talking to a while back about this, I said, and this person didn't make any comments, but like their friends did on a post. And I said, do you know that those comments that these people are making could lead someone to want to end their life? And he was like, oh, he said, I didn't even, I go, well, I'm telling you, it's kind of like bullying or mean girls. You say something like that, the person is already taken up on themselves. And then you guys go online, I go, show your faces. Start showing, because when you're hashtagging, trust me, these guys see everything. So when you're hashtagging and doing your little ads and all that, you should look and say, this is a person, they're playing a sport, they're doing the best they can. I don't know them personally. right? And I bet you after that, they would go up and people take a selfie on the internet.
Yep.
$1 million, I bet you,
Oh,
that
yeah,
would
that's a good bet.
happen.
That's a good bet. You'll win that bet.
That's, I would, and another thing, walking up to somebody and bothering them, or coming up behind them, things that you shouldn't really do. Touching someone from behind, you startle, this whole dismissive, or someone doesn't want to take a selfie and you're calling them names. Come on. Maybe they're at dinner, maybe they just want to eat
Won't
alone.
be bothered.
A lot of people, after a loss or even after a win, they just want to decompress. And I think, you know, it affects it affects people mentally and emotionally. And confidence and self-esteem is a very big problem. And then life after football. And when I work with people, I don't Google them. I have a trust factor there. I don't Google. I want you to tell me. I don't want to know what the internet says. And I just think, even when people get in trouble and something happens and, oh, they're speeding or, oh, this, it's got nothing to do with us. That's not on the field. That's somebody's personal business. Just like you got personal business, actually, well, I have personal, unless we want to share it, but it's like immediately people go online and bam. And then they don't like this person, and I wish we could change things and not be, even when Deshaun Watson got injured and people were sharing about it, and I'm like, okay, you guys don't have to like that. I'm not gonna take your feelings away, but it is so disgusting to cheer somebody on when they're injured or to boo somebody. Like, I just find we weren't raised like that. We probably would have been taken home and we've done something like that. And we went to Cats, Indians, Browns, we just, that's how we connected and had fun. But sometimes I see comments or I hear things and I think, like, I gotta refrain, I gotta
Jump there and it just,
thing.
there
Like,
she go. She's back.
look what they did to him. I mean, come on. He
Exactly.
works hard. A lot of these guys train in the spring and like all year because they want to be the best version of themselves and the best they can be when they're playing.
Exactly.
So that's my
Well, I tell you, Lisa, you have hit a lot on the head tonight because
a lot of
we expect more out of individuals that may be elite athlete than we sometimes expect of ourselves. Our expectation is high, and sometimes they're unrealistic expectations because they are human as well, and they have feelings. They deal with mental health symptoms. They even recognize, but they don't want to show others. You said this earlier that they have them because it does affect their job. See, their professional career is all about them being in the best uh, possible wellness, either physical, emotionally, mentally, uh, spiritually, socially, and psychological. Because the finance is there. They have finance. But unfortunately, the other parts can break function and all of them as a stable or mature level, you're going to break down. You're going to burn out. See, one of the things you see with a lot of athletes now is they're burning out. They always had this great thing they say about professional running backs, professional football players that are running back. Their life expectancy is about 6 or 7 years. Can you imagine that you're playing football for some people 12, 13, 14, 15 years, but get to the pros, they tell you, your life
Age
expectancy,
5,
if
yeah,
it's 5 or
age
6 years,
6, I have people that was their life, and what happens, Dr. Lowe, when it stops, it's like that was such a huge pressure day, and then it's like, where am I? And, you know, I don't think people see that either, and I think they say, whoa, they know what they're getting into. Honest to God, people don't know, and I think any sport, I don't think even basketball thing, people don't know, and there is no way to prepare. And there are people that want to get out of the situations they were in growing up and be able to make something and do something. And I admire and I respect that and I love it. My house, my house, you know, they want to take care of. And then what happens a lot of times too, these guys get their, like, people steal from them. These financial, I mean, they take their money and it's like, you know, it's sad. It's being taken advantage of, and trust me, nobody wants to be in that kind of position. And I'm just glad that I, you know, that they know, like I know this weekend, I didn't make any plans or anything, because I want to be available. I know this is a very rough time for people that are not playing, or maybe they were just cut. Like, people don't understand the stress and the pressures behind that, you know, of, am I gonna make the team, am I not gonna make the team, you know, am I gonna get cut? It's and injuries. Nobody anticipates an injury. Nobody wants to be injured, and nobody intentionally injures themselves that I'm aware of. But with head trauma, you know, Dr. Lois Cyber, cycles, everything, impulse control, you know, judgment, memory, um, that holds and it controls the right side of the body. I don't think fully, I think just want to drink and watch games and get angry and say awful things, and, you know, I, I guess now I don't enjoy like I did, and I always considered it like my family, you know. Even when I went home for games last year, it's like I was expecting my uncle to come up behind us, you know, it was, that's what he would do, and make some jokes, and say, I'm going into the locker room, and I said, oh, can I come with you? I always joked with him, he said, no, you're not allowed, and even if you were, you couldn't go. But I was always interested in the mind of an athlete, and I wanted my track for a while to be sports psychology. But I think the best way to learn is actually have a conversation with somebody. But if they trust you enough to talk to you, they don't, I mean, they're not, I don't blame people, because they don't know what you're gonna do, and it's against them,